Hello, my name is Mike Ward. I'm the Global Director of Content for Informa Pharma Intelligence. We're here in Cologne at the Bio-Europe meeting, and I'm joined by Cathy Harrison, who is the CEO of an Australian biotech company called Dimerix, which has a sort of slightly different business model from what we're kind of used to from biotech companies. So Cathy, could you sort of explain what the sort of the core business model is of your company?
So the core business is based on the platform technology Receptor-Hit, which enables the elucidation of receptor pharmacology based on identifying heterodimerization between receptors. Heterodimerization means that the receptors can actually interact with each other and potentially transactivate each other and signal through different pathways. So it's really important in pharmacology because you can get signals that you're not expecting based on what you might look at in a profile for a single pathway approach.
So where did the technology originally come from?
The technology was developed at the University of Western Australia,
Right.
and Dimerix was spun out in about 2004.
Right.
And since then, the technology has moved on. The platform has been used for work with other companies, elucidating their mechanisms of actions, and also to develop the pipeline of Dimerix treatments.
Right. So when you're sort of saying that your technology sort of elucidates what's going on at the receptor, does that mean that it's not a drug discovery tool, it's more of a sort of a drug explanation tool?
It can be both. So it can be elucidating what is already known. So from a series of compounds which seem to behave differently once they go into in vivo. It can be used to understand why in terms of the receptors. It has the potential to be used for rational drug design. It has the potential for also to be used to repurpose more than one molecule based on targeting two receptors that exist in a heterodimer.
Yeah. So initially the company's modus operandi was to work for other people. It was a service business, but now you're developing your own in-house.
That's right. But we also do still look for partnerships to work with pharmaceutical companies because we think there is a lot of value in the platform technology itself. But primarily, yes, we are now developing our own pipeline.
And that pipeline is based on taking existing compounds and combining them?
Yes, that's right. So what we're doing is by understanding the way the receptors interact with each other, we've been able to identify, for example, in our DMX 200 program, we've identified that it's the angiotensin receptor and chemokine 2 receptor actually form one of these heterodimers and interact with each other. And so therefore, by taking an angiotensin receptor blocker and a CCR2 antagonist and putting them together, certainly what we saw in the rat model, subtotal nephrectomy model, was that there is a synergistic effect in reducing proteinuria and protection of podocytes by using both compounds together rather than just trying to do one or the other.
Right, okay. So I guess the first question is that how easy is it to source those compounds? Are these sort of standard generic compounds? And what IP then do you have on the final product?
Yep. So that's part of our decision process in what to pursue. So in the case of kidney disease, angiotensin receptor blockers are standard of care, and they are, for the most part, generic. So they are available to us. What we've done is we've developed some IP around the use of CCR2 antagonists and angiotensin receptor blockers together. So that enables us to potentially enter licensing agreements with companies with CCR2 antagonists, or to take the molecule that we've chosen, propagermanium, which is generically available, and reformulate that into an extended release formulation.
Right. Okay. So because one of I think the rules about sort of combination drugs is you actually have to demonstrate the efficacy of both components of that combination. So because you're taking existing drugs anyway, does that allow you to get around that requirement?
We actually had a really good meeting with the FDA earlier this year in which we discussed the development pathway. And because what we're developing for our initial indication is FSGS, and because in kidney disease angiotensin receptor blockers are used as standard of care, the FDA have agreed that where we can develop the propagermanium alone as an adjunct therapy. So we don't need to do the full combination demonstration of contribution of both components because we're adding one treatment to what is already standard of care. So that was a really good outcome for us from that meeting.
So is this DMX 200?
This is DMX 200.
Okay. So what's the status of that now, and what are the milestones that we can expect from that program?
Yep, so the status is now is that we're doing a phase 2 clinical trial, and that is the part A that we're doing is actually a dose escalation. So we're taking patients on irbesartan, escalating the propagermanium dose to confirm the safety and also to look for, if you like, the sweet spot for efficacy. We've had some really encouraging interim data showing that some patients have had really significant reductions in proteinuria. We will complete that study mid next year and then move into the part B with the extended release formulation, in which we'll do a dose expansion. We'll select 1 or 2 doses and keep patients on that a little bit longer. So that will take about 12 months, I think.
So you guys are on the Australian Stock Exchange.
Correct.
Do you have the sort of the financial muscle to be able to pursue that DMX 200 program through, for example, the phase 2 trials?
Yeah.
And what will you do after that?
Absolutely. So we have, at the moment, we have certainly enough cash to take us through that whole part A. One of the benefits of being on the stock exchange is that from time to time, we may be able to, we will raise money as we need. There's no urgent need at the moment. We've got a good window of 12 months cash, but being listed gives us the capacity to raise money when we need to. But we think that the quantum of expenditure to get us through the phase 2 is such that we will be able to raise that money in an Australian ASX context.
All right, okay. And I mean, this is a partnering meeting here in Cologne. So are you looking to find partners to develop DMX 200 beyond, or are you actually looking for partners to provide the services you?
I'm actually here doing a number of things, and I mean, as you rightly pointed out, looking for service providers, but also talking to partners ultimately who might be interested in the program.
Okay, great. Well, Kathy, good luck with that, and thanks for stopping by.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye.